Yes. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the globe. You are welcome once again to your darling program, The Comrade and Friends, a segment of The Comrade Show. Today, the 24th of March, 2024. As usual, it promises to be a very important one. There is no news, there is no saying the obvious anymore. In Edo State, the stage is almost set because the elephants have come out. And in September 2024, a new governor will be known and will be sworn in November. Parties have been jostling, moving from pillar to post, doing everything possible to have their candidates. The candidates, like you know, are already here. The Labour Party, the PDP, the APC, and other parties as well, not to mention also the NRM, the National Rescue Movement. And the Comrade Show, as usual, is interested in the growth, development, and progress of Edo politics. And as part of our arrangements for this series, we will be talking and bringing to our viewers all the candidates of the different political party. And today we are starting with a big elephant in the room, the candidate of the NMR, National Rescue Movement. No other but our friend, a young man in the block who has been doing a lot and making all the right noises and talking to people in Edo State and indeed Nigeria. We have with us today the governorship candidate of the National Rescue Movement. They now call it the Youth O'Clock. No other but our friend, Dr. Aikoriogie. Join us. We'll be with you shortly as we begin to interact with this gentleman on his vision for Edo State. Do not touch that die. We'll be right back. Thank you so much. Welcome once again, like I said in the intro. It is your darling program, The Comrade and Friends. But I'm not here alone. I am here with the CNC of the Comrade Show, no other but the man that knows everything in the local government. Talking of CNC, Comrade Lamte Osahon. Please, can you say hello to our people, Comrade Lamte Osahon?
Thank you very much, Comrade Pharmacist Austin Eremira. Yes, Nigerians, greetings to you. It is a Comrade Show, and I'm glad to be here. Please do us a favor, share the broadcast. Let's get it around. It is the Comrade Show, and it's a direct engagement with the candidates. Jostling to occupy Osadebe Avenue. Stay with us, it's going to be interesting. And don't forget, you can actually call in anytime. And you can equally send in your questions through our social media handles, YouTube, Facebook. And don't forget to share. Just share and invite more people. It's important we deepen this engagement. God bless you. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Comrade Lamte. You are looking ever so good. It's always good to be with you in this table. And I like the word you use, jostling, to live in that beautiful house called Osadebe Avenue. Friends of Comrade Show, viewers of Comrade Show, and those that will watch it later, it is very important. Like we said, this is the first of the series of our engagement and interview with candidates of the different political party that will be seeking your support to become governor of Edo State. And today, we have no other but Dr. Aikoriogie, candidate of the National Rescue Movement. For some people, this party may look new, but today, we'll be hearing more from him. Want him to talk to us and talk to our viewers about his vision for Edo State should he become governor and sworn in November 2024. On that note, I want to present to us Dr. Aikoriogie.
Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, viewers. Thank you, Comrade Austin and Comrade Orahi. It's a pleasure to be here on your show.
Thank you so much, Dr. Aikoriogie. It's good to have you. I know our viewers will want to hear from you as well. And like Comrade Lamte said, our viewers, at some point, the lines will be open. Prepare your questions. And as usual, if you have any comment, leave it on our comment segment. We will ask those questions to Dr. Aikoriogie. Dr. Dennis Aikoriogie, time is fast spent. Let's get down to the business of today. And I'm just going to serve you the very first question, which is just an opener. Edo State people, and indeed Nigerians, want to know you. Who are you? Who is Dr. Dennis Aikoriogie?
Yes, thank you very much, Comrade Austin. Dennis Osahon Aikoriogie is born into the Aikoriogie Edomea royal family. I was born June 14, 1982 at St. Philomena Hospital in Benin City. Uh, my family is from the Oredo Mission Road Aziz, where I grew up at Ohoro, Ego to be precise. I attended Edopolo Primary School and I proceeded to attend Broadway Comprehensive College in Benin City for my secondary education. And I moved forward to study diploma, or I should say degree in accounting at the University of Benin. Then I did my bachelor's in the same institution, University of Benin, studying mathematics and economics, combined honors from Uniben. Then I went to the National Assembly where I did my youth service, serving the Committee of Works. Then I have other experiences in the insurance, banking, public sector, um, Transversing First Bank, Cornerstone Insurance PLC, and the Rivers State Road Traffic Management Authority, where I had various positions such as the Principal Staff Officer, Confidential Secretary. Then I moved to New York, where I did my master's, my MBA in Business Administration, and I also have my honorary doctorate degree in Business and Christian Leadership from Cornerstone University in Georgia, uh, USA. I think this is a little bit about my background. I'm also into private business. I'm into media, and I'm also into export and import. I import. Um, I export Nigerian food from Nigeria to the US. So these are some of my businesses I do on the side and my work experience and background.
Wow, thank you so much, Dr. Dennis. Make I speak pidgin English here. Be like say you be proper homeboy. Oh. I just listening to all your schooling and everything, and also great to know that you are also an alumni of the Great University of Benin. Oh, that's
Ex-
fantastic. So
Exactly.
viewers, yeah, that's very good. Just going to go straight to Komilante Pausaraki to ask his questions while I prepare for the next one. Komilante, we have a proper homeboy with us.
Yes, very, very interesting. Um, this is very simple. Why do you want to become the governor of Edo State?
Yes, thank you very much, Comrade. Like, why I want to be the governor of Edo State is that I've seen that there is total lack of leadership and there's total lack of sincerity from those who we presented to the governors of Edo State. I believe they are not galvanizing and utilizing the resources to the benefit of the Edo people, to what is expected. I see that there's a contrast, there's a huge gap between what is expected of them and what they are delivering to people. So this is where I come in. I believe when I come in, I'm going to be a servant leader for the people, whereby I'll use the resources judiciously for the people to transform Edo State because Edo State has a huge potential to put Edo State in the world map and to make sure that there's no embezzling of funds and what is being done is not cosmetic, is not for the optics. That when you see that a governor is performing on graphics and when you go to Benin City, there should not be a sharp contrast or a sharp difference. You coming down from the airport or from the taxi, you should the difference and the transformation should stare you on the face. You shouldn't be asking where is all the noise they are making. So this is why I want to be governor of Edo State to create that, to change the narrative and to make sure Edo State is being placed on the world map to bring my wealth of experience and my expertise to transfer Edo State and diversify the economy of Edo State and put Edo State on the world map.
Latte, you are muted.
Sorry, can I just do a follow-up on this? I mean, many years ago, we had one president, Obama of the United States. And when he was contesting, and oftentimes he was asked, what is your reference? What have you done before that gives you that, confidence that you will do better than the people you refer to as dishonest, not utilizing the resources of the state properly? Obama would always make reference to, back in the day when he was a community organizer, where he started from, organizing people and all of that. What have you done? What would you refer to as that thing that is giving you that confidence, to say you can govern? Edo State we're talking of governing a state. And for everybody that has governed those states, people have some reference, that people can, verify, so to speak. What have you done, in your own life, privately or publicly, that gives you that confidence that you can handle those states and be that exemplary leader that you just talked about?
Yes, thank you very much. To answer your question, what I've done, I believe I was the global coordinator for Diaspora Strong for Peter Obi, and this is a support group.
You believe you were the global coordinator, or were you the global coordinator?
I was the global coordinator for Peter Obi, Diaspora Group, support group, where we rally support for Peter Obi because we believe in his 10 performers in governors when he was governor of Anambra State, and we believe in his person, and we believe if given the opportunity to be president of Nigeria, is going to change the narrative. And also in terms of my private capacity, what I've done for Edo people, I have an NGO where I render free medical outreaches and free medical services to the Edo people. I also embark on youth empowerment for skills acquisition for the youth to empower the youth, and also for the widows. I have an intervention program for the widows to make sure that their basic needs are met. So these are the things I'm doing within my foundation, my NGO, to make sure that I bring the needed change and succor to the underserved in the community. So I'm doing this with my own private and personal resources. And I believe if I'm given the opportunity to be the president, to be the governor of Edo State, managing the Edo State resources, I'll be able to galvanize these resources for the well-being of every Edo light. So this is what I've done in my private capacity, running an NGO, offering free medical services, youth empowerment, support for the widows, giving scholarship. This I do with my personal resources. So I believe if I'm put in place to manage public resources, I'll be able to do far better. So this is where I come in. And what I'll be doing within my NGO is not just limited to Edo State. I do the same thing with the FCT, Abuja, Imo, River State, and some other states within the Federation. And my NGO has no political motive or no any undertone. So it's what I'm good, is what I'm known for, and even with outside of politics, is what we continue to do to touch the lives of the common people in the society.
Thank you so much, Dennis Aikoriogie. We have been talking with Dr. Dennis Aikoriogie, governorship candidate of the NRM, jottling to be governor for Edo State come September 2024 when the elections will take place. Dr. Dennis, I just want to ask you this. There's a word on the street to say that you are unserious, you are just a distraction, and you are being sponsored. And some have alleged that is the current governor, Governor Godwin Obaseki, that is sponsoring you just to cause disruption. My question to you today, Dr. Dennis, Are you being sponsored?
Thank you very much. I don't think I've been anywhere around government house. I'm not being sponsored. I use my personal resources for my political sojourn, and at least someone who is being sponsored, people know that someone is being sponsored and someone who is moving his own campaign activities by himself. So it's clear that I'm not being sponsored by anybody. So I can even talk to any authority or any person the way I feel like, just to prove the point that I'm not being sponsored by anybody. And to say that I'm a distraction, I think that is very, very untrue, because campaign have not started. When campaign started, people will hear more of me, and that's when I'll come out to say more and critique the present government and my other contestants. So for now, there's no politicking and there's no campaign. So I'm doing my underground work, reaching out to people, meeting stakeholders, and canvassing and soliciting for their support. So this is what I'm doing for now. So to answer your questions, is that I'm not being sponsored by anybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dennis. I think it's very important because that's words on the street to say that you are a distraction and you are being sponsored. But today at the Comrade Show, 24th of March 2024, Dr. Dennis Aikoriogie has said it very clearly that he's his own man, he's not being sponsored. He is on a mission to change Edo State. Comrade Lamte.
Yes, Dr. Aikoriogie, the question I want to ask you. Currently,
Yeah.
we have a governor, Sadebe Avenue. That's Governor Bonio Paseki.
Yes.
What do you think exactly you want to do differently from what the governor is already doing?
Yes, thank you very much. What I think I want to do differently from what the governor is doing is that in terms of education, I believe I can do a whole lot of difference within the education sector. Just now, Edo Best is being adjudged by the international bodies to be a policy that is adjudged the best in education in Nigeria, making him to clinch the support of Vanguard of the Year award. Uh, but if you go outside of Benin City, you see that students still sit on the floor to receive lectures. Uh, in terms of remote villages, there are no teachers. People are sitting in a classroom. There are no roof over their heads. People sit on the floor. When it rains, it beats them. So that is not the kind of education policy we are talking about. Apart from the Red Roof revelation of Adams Oshomole, I can't see any impacts in terms of education where this present governor or government has impacted the lives of Edo people. Edo best policy is just a policy on paper or something. It's not on ground. Uh, they can't go to school structures or school buildings and they are dilapidated and they are making noise about Edo best policy. People need to go to schools and see good buildings when they enter. Their teachers, people are well seated in a properly furnished classrooms, not just within Benin City, but within outside of Benin City metropolis to areas of Edo Central, Edo North. Same thing with the health sector. He has moved the central hospital, the planning to build a ShopRite or whatever from uh, Ring Road, moving it to Stella Obasanjo Hospital. There's an extension that's being created there. You know, the specialist hospital is called Central Hospital for a reason because it needs to be centrally positioned where everybody within Benin City can easily locate the specialist hospital. So that's why it was located in Ring Grove in the first place. So I'll try as much as possible to make sure that the health sector is revamped, not just the specialist hospital in that Ring Road that Oshomole built that is being run by consultancy. People cannot afford government owned hospitals. So when I come aboard, what I'm going to do different is to make sure that the government hospital, the central hospital, is going to be a state of the art facilities whereby all the equipment, modern equipment that's been required, is going to be furnished and is going to be supplied to that hospital to make sure that central and specialist hospital is called specialist hospital for a reason. That is actually a specialist hospital for specialized issues, in Edo State. Because just now, when you go to what we call the specialist hospital in Benin, they don't have ultrasound machine. There's no CT scan. They refer people to private hospital to do all those kind of things. So we are bringing state of the art facilities from the US and from our German partners to make sure that our hospitals are well equipped. Other healthcare, primary healthcare centers within Benin City, between the 192 wards, they are giving facelift. And, when you go to healthcare as the first primary place of intervention, people can access doctors, medication, and all that before you're being sent to a secondary level of intervention, which is the specialist hospital. Then, if the case is serious, you go to tertiary hospital, which is UBTH. You know, we should have a standard health sector in Edo State. So this is what I'm going to do different. Then the roads, I'm trying to make sure that we give a state of emergency on our roads. It's not just what they are doing just now, just because of election. They are not doing, they are not doing an emergency road repairs. Now, just for people to campaign, uh, they have that road, the tractors everywhere, every day. They are not doing road repairs and road rehabilitation. No, within my first 100 days in office, I will try as much as possible to declare a state of emergency on all the roads to make sure that the roads uh, are bearing a good load, because Edo State is known for good road networks. We'll make sure that all our roads bear a good look. I will try as much as possible that water, we used to have water board. We try and make sure that we have a tap running water in those states. So these are the things I'm going to do different between the education, uh, health sector, our rules, and also try as much as possible to address insecurity in the state. Uh, as you are aware, the PDP, this Edo State PDP chairman has been kidnapped. This is lack of failure, in terms of governance, whereby a whole PDP chairman is being kidnapped. People cannot travel from Benin to Auchi without being fear of being abducted. Our forest, they are repleted with herdsmen adopting farmers. People cannot go to their farms. So these are what I'm going to be doing different to make sure those states is 100% secure, that all our forests and our farmlands are cup of infiltrators and herdsmen. People can easily go to their farm, reduce the level of kidnappings in the state, and make sure that not just people sitting in government house have good security, make sure that the common man in the street, is 100% secure. So this is what I'm going to be doing differently. Let me not just bore you with all the things I'm going to be doing, which the present government is not doing correctly.
Sorry, sir. Just before you come on, a pharmacist, let me quickly announce that Dr. Tony Agmons is already in the house. Over to you, pharmacist.
Thank you so much. We want to welcome Dr. Tony Agbonsi. He will join us shortly. Dr. Aikoriogie, I was very happy when you were answering that question. Whilst you were answering the question, you said your German partners. Probably maybe in the next question, you might expatiate on that. Do you have a German partner already in preparation for your governorship election? To me, that shows a bit of seriousness. Maybe you let us know more about that. I think a lot of the PDP people might disagree with you because we've heard Edo Best 1.0, 2.0. Maybe many of them will disagree with you to say that the current governor is doing well, but we leave that to the judgment of the people of Edo State. My question to you: you said in the course of our discussion today that you heard the diaspora group of the OB candidacy. Now, you have left the Labour Party, and some are saying that you are desperate, and you have now moved to the NRM, the National Rescue Movement. To some people, it's relatively new. And we know that Labour Party, in the course of the presidential election, suffered some problem because it was alleged that they were not well spread. I want you, in answering this question, why did you leave the Labour Party? And now you are in NRM. Does NRM have a spread in Edo State?
Yes, thank you very much, Comrade Austin, for your question. The reason why I left the Labour Party, I think I've deposited this in the public domain before. We entered the Labour Party because of our support and our belief in Peter Obi. We believe Labour Party should be different from the traditional APC and PDP political party, whereby people's credentials and people's track record should speak for them. Money shouldn't be the only yardstick for choosing a candidate. So, having sensed that the Labour Party is repleted with corruption and people who are leading people who sit at the apex and leadership of the party, they have a lot of baggage of corruptions, that of falsification and laundry and all of that hanging on their neck. So I felt it's proper I leave the Labour Party and join the National Rescue Movement. In terms of this,
Dr. Aguri, may I interject? Because
yes,
we are live on air, you understand, and it's
yes,
important, we properly give perspective to the things we say. When you say that people in Labour Party are corrupt, they are this. You've used some very strong, languages to qualify them as as cause one of the reasons why you left the Labour Party. Do you have proof of some of these, and who are the people you are referring to, if it's possible to mention? Because
yes.
it's very cheap to make blanket statements. You understand what I'm saying now? And we like that if there are people like that and you have proof of that, it's good that the world knows. But to make a blanket statement and there is no proof to support them, that itself may be an issue. What do you
All
say?
right, all right. Thank you very much. Yes, in terms of measuring of names, I think we had a meeting with the chairman of Labour Party, Julius Haburi, where he was telling aspirant there that they should try to provide some certain amount of money, even telling them that speaking of English wasn't necessary, that let your money speak for you. They were trying to do some kind of money to to start the campaign process, where they were telling aspirants to go bring money and telling you that you it's not even okay or proper for you to speak English. Let your money speak for you. Let your money be the English you're going to speak. And also, the people in the local government, people who call themselves local government chairman, you know, they keep on assuring every aspirant of their support. You don't meet them without you dropping something. Is it that you're hosting them when you're leaving? You're giving them money for transport. You can imagine one told me that if I don't provide money for their transportation, I shouldn't just bother to reach out to them again, or I shouldn't come to his local government. You can imagine that. That audacity telling me that if I don't give you, that is after I've hosted you, giving you, saying it's like if I don't provide you transport money, I should forget about coming to your local government, to come campaign. Such audacity telling me of such as an aspirant, and not even forgetting what I've done for his local government, providing chairs and tables, for party supporters and party members to sit. He still has me the temerity, to threaten me that if I don't provide transport money, I shouldn't bother to come to his local government to campaign to see the proposed delegate. So these are some of what I would just want to reveal to the public in terms of the corruption within the Labour Party. Not to talk of issues within the how people were transplanted. A particular aspirant was supposed to emerge and was substituted. In terms of even Murphy in Umwonde, you know he was substituted and Ativie was placed in his stead to cover for that. That is corruption. Someone who has been elected within the primaries to represent that local government. Um, he was substituted for Ativie, not until the hue and cry of the general people with supporters within the party, before that was corrected. such kind of practices, makes people, suspect the Labour Party and want to move away from the Labour Party. So I believe I've been able to touch on the corruption that is within the Labour Party and many others, which I don't want to address now in the public, but I believe this just suffice for now.
So
All right.
sorry, Dr. Aikoriogie. May I just do? I have a follow up on this because at the end of the day, the gross immorality in our polity, is so much, and somehow, uh, conversations like this should make us begin to address some of these issues. Now, what you've talked about right now, you've made some reference, particularly to the national chairman, Julius Abure, and all of that. For what we know, okay, in other climes, when there are issues and people belong to a particular, body, political party as it may, as it were, when there are issues, because you are a member of that particular party or that group, you try to, contribute your own quota towards solving the issues that are prevalent there. Okay. Now, as a member of Labour Party at the time, what did you do to address these issues? And how are those State people sure that if you noticed issues of corruption like you claimed here in Labour Party and you have now moved to NRM, and we did not hear you, say these are steps you took to correct those issues and correct and bring about a more standardized Labour Party? How are the people sure that you will not run away from NRM tomorrow when similar issues, emerge? But start from what you did to correct these, observations you've made.
Yes, thank you very much. I did not actually take any measures to correct the national chairman. When he said that the aspirant should go bring money, my only objection or contest to that was to refuse to his request to bring money. I believe other aspirants too, they refused to contribute that amount. So I think that was my only protest I did. And in terms of the other one I said within the local government hierarchy, where they're asking you to bring XYZ amount. If you don't bring XYZ, don't come to my local government. I think there's little much I could do from that because they keep on telling you that politics is money. When you are in this race, you should know what politics is all about. A lot of money is required from you. When you're coming to see the delegates, you should prepare. You should have XYZ amount. You should have these. So I don't think if there's something I could do to correct that, to say, okay, I'm going to see the delegates. Someone who is in charge of local government have told me I can't have access to the delegate. It's only if I can have access to the delegate I will appeal to their conscience that see why they should vote, see for merit, and why they shouldn't listen to the money back. But someone who is the mediator, the local government chairman, is telling me I can't have access to those people. So how do I reach them to address to say, okay, vote for me based on certain principles and not based on money? It's already um, cut me off from those people, so I can't speak to them because uh, they didn't give us a platform whereby we can, say, okay, we're going to address the delegates. You have to go through the local government chairman, and that which I did. I did some local government tours, whereby I have to go through the local government because you can't just badge on the delegate without going through the local government chairman. They are going to be the people to lead you and to tell you who to meet and who not to meet. So that is it. So for me not to have a friction between these people, so I just decided, okay, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to watch them do their morning and their power play, and why I go to National Rescue Movement. So that's what I did.
All right. Thank you so much, Comrade Lamptey, for that interjection. I think it's very important. There is a lot to talk about Labour Party, maybe in subsequent program. But Dr. Dennis Aikoriogie is now of NRM. And in my initial question, I wanted you to talk more about NRM. Are we sure that if you meet another brick wall, you may not leave again? Let us know about NRM in Edo State, please.
Yes, thank you very much. The National Rescue Movement in Edo State, is a party registered in 2017. They did, they put up a bright performance in the last general election in Edo State, making them to come, I think, fifth or seventh position in Edo State. So it's been led by Chief Arase, in Chief Sam Arase, is a chief in the palace. So we believe, just like Labour Party, we believe with if we engage the electorate, we can uplift the popularity and upsurge the popularity of the party by canvassing during a door-to-door campaign. We increase the popularity of the party. Engaging on the electorate, that is how you increase the popularity of the party, just like we did with Labour Party, whereby they told us that the Labour Party then had no structures. We tried to correct them that the people had the structure, that we need to take our campaign to the grassroots and make sure that the people get to know the party. So that's what I'm going to do with the National Rescue Movement, to make people know that they are the structure, that is not just two people making noise on social media, that people are the structure and the people are going to determine this Edo election 2024.
Thank you. I just want to ask just a quick one. It's a yes or no question. Is NRM represented in the entire 18 local government areas of Edo State?
Yes.
Fantastic. I just want to welcome Dr. Tony Agbon back to us. Dr. Tony, thank you for what you do. You were coming from a very important engagement. You still made time to join us. While I allow you to catch your breath, I'll be coming to you to take the next questions. But I just want to read a few comments on our comment session, as people have been making comments about today's engagement with Dr. Dennis Aikoriogie. Alima Ibrahim is saying correcting the list of a particular political party is collective and deliberate effort, not for one man to correct. And Idip Edo says corruption in Labour Party. That's a story for another day. Idip Edo again is saying true and tell the truth about the ignorance and makeshift development. I think it was coming from our previous discussion. And Owolawi Ololade is saying that Dennis Aikoriogie is his own man. I think that's a very important one for you, Dr. Dennis Aikoriogie. The public believes that you are your own man and you've said it with your own mouth. And we hope that when you become governor, come September and sworn in November, we'll begin to see that your own man in everything. Dr. Tony Agbons, thank you for joining us. Can you throw a salvo at Dr. Dennis Aikoriogie?
Thank you very much, our anchor for the day, Pharmacist Remira. And greetings to our CNC, Comrade Lamptey Oriahi. And special welcome to our big elephant in the house, Dr. Osahon Aikoriogie.
Nice.
I've been following the program while I was, rushing to my study here. And the question I want to ask you, Dr. Dennis.
Yes.
I remember the first time I started sharing your poster for this program. Somebody asked me that, you sure say this organ be placeholder in B so? So that question, I'm pushing it to you, because that person is watching this program now. Then the second question I want to ask you is that candidates in the other parties, they are picking their deputies now. So can you tell us how far you are going? I know you may not want to say everything. So those are the two questions I have for you just now.
Yes, thank you very much. Just to correct the impression that I'm a placeholder, I think the answer is false. I'm a candidate, and a candidate cannot be a placeholder. And in terms of my deputy, what I have now is I have a placeholder, someone from Edo North, and I intend within the next couple of days or weeks to have a substantive uh, deputy governor candidate from Edo North. So I have a placeholder while I shop for a substantive one, just to meet and beat INEC deadline. so that I'll be able to uh, come out as a candidate by INEC. So I have a placeholder for now from Edo North.
So just to follow up, sorry, Pharmacist Remiran, you have answered part of my question. The argument is that, oh, you have picked the ticket of the National Rescue Movement so that when the supposedly all those on motor parties and the big parties, when they come, then you do a bargain. Is there anything of such going on?
No, there's nothing of such going on. There's no motor party. I think everybody is a motor. I think we are more homeboy than what most people claim they are. Like I said, I schooled from primary to university in Benin City, and I think I'm more homeboy than people who schooled in Lagos and Kaduna. And just because they are presently in Benin City does not make them more homeboy than us, than those of us who were born and bred up in Benin City. We attended all our education from primary to university in Edo State. That does not make them more homeboy. For the fact that they are in Benin presently, it does not make them homeboy than us, because we know the nooks and crannies of Benin City. So NRM is not negotiating with any political party at the moment. We don't intend to do that, to negotiate with any political party, because we are in this race to win. We're going to give a shocker to those political parties. People believe they are the superheroes. Like I've always said, that there's no political party that is underdog. Uh, they should just watch out for NRM, because we're going to give them a shock of their lives.
Thank you very much, Dr. Denis Osahon Aikoriogie. Edo State and indeed Nigeria will wait for that shocker. I'll be very pleased if that really happened. In the course of you talking to us about yourself, I was very happy because I love youth. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, you are 42 years old. And I think if elected governor, you're going to be the first and probably the youngest governor elected in Edo State. And I think that will give ray of hope to so many people. Is that what you are going to ride on? Or you think that Edo State people doesn't care about youths?
Well, I believe the adult people, they should be concerned about the youth, because a youthful governor, someone who's youth at heart, should know the present challenges of the youth and should know how to champion the cause of the youth, to empower the youth in terms of setting up SMEs, small medium scale enterprise, to generate a lot of industrial hubs within the city, and grant them credits whereby they can set up their business, become self-employed and employers of labor. So they should be very concerned with someone who is digitally and compliant, someone who is within the people, what they would call the Gen Z generation, not people who cannot make use of social media, and they should be concerned and they should follow a youthful governor, because the youthful governor knows the in thing. We know what is obtainable within the tech, health, and education sector, and how we can deploy technology to solve all these things. And not people who are due for retirement in their 60s and their 70s are coming to lead a lot of youthful people, teeming population of youth in Edo State. We should have a youthful governor, because a youthful governor knows what the people want and knows how they're going to solve it within this dispensation of within 2024 Y2K to be Y2K compliant.
Okay, we'll see what happens. I believe the Americans will argue differently. Currently, their two candidates are within the neighborhood of 70 to about 80 years. But Edo State is a growing population, a lot of youths. Let's see how it goes. Komilante Monsaraki, your question, please.
I just want to ask this. Dr. Aikoriogie.
Yes.
Just a simple question. Do you know, because you've talked about, you would do this as a governor, do you do this as a governor, you do this as a governor and all of that. Do you know what the revenue, that accrues to Edo State is? Have you done your research enough to know how much Edo State earns annually to be able to say you will do this as a governor, you will do that as a governor? Because if this data is not available, even as a candidate, sometimes it's an issue. Do you really know what the figures are with the state of accounts, not the state of accounts exactly, but with the revenue that accrues to Edo State, for you to argue that it is possible for you to do better than the current governor of Edo State?
Yes, I know the revenue of Edo State. I think monthly is about 10 billion naira. And we know there is increase from the federal government, from Tinubu, because of this inflation and the removal of subsidy. They've increased the allocation to states, and also I'm not going to rely 100% on federal allocation. So this where uh, we try to diversify the economy of Edo State to not just be dependent on Hoye and from the federal allocation. We try to diversify the revenue base of Edo State to make sure that Edo State is industrialized, starting with 24 hours electricity. This is achievable because Abia State Governor Oti has been able to achieve that. He has been able to prove and set records that 24 hours electricity is achievable in Edo State. Once there's 24 hours electricity, we industrialize the state and we set up industries and factories so that we do a lot of export and we diversify the revenue base of Edo State so that we don't rely 100% from federal location. By so doing, also we try as much as possible to reduce the debt burden and debt stock of Edo State, which is galloping on according to statistics sense. Edo State is one of the highly indebted states in the country. So what we're going to do, we're not going to rely 100% in federal location.
So, sir, sorry, sir, just a follow-up, sir. Okay, do you have a clear plan on how you're going to do this? And what if you have a clear plan? Do you already know? Because I expect that as a candidate, you already have a blueprint of what you want to do to transform Edo State.
Yes.
Which is why I believe that we're having this conversation. Which
Yes.
means that if you want to diversify the economy of the state, you want to generate more IGRO, okay, to boost the resources of the state and every other thing, equally means that if you want to make Edo State go independent, energy-wise and every other thing, it gives me the impression that you already have an idea what it's going to cost us to be independent. What do you say to this?
Yes, thank you very much. You have the blueprint of where, in terms of my policy trust, in terms of what we can do to diversify the revenue and the economy of Edo State. Uh, but in terms of what it's going to cost us, we don't have the cost yet, but we know how we're going to drive the policy and how our partners and people we're going to reach to take us to that point. But in terms of the cost implication, we're working on that to know the cost, what's going to cost us, the cost implication of that, to make sure that Edo State is, uh, diversified and is highly industrialized.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Dennis. You keep saying our partners. I think at some point you need to elucidate on that. But Osareme Arama has asked three important questions. I think the first one you've answered in part, but I just want to read them so that you can just answer them all together. Arama is asking, what are your chances given the current situation in Edo State? And the second question is, what are you going to do differently concerning agriculture and the civil servant salaries? And the third question is, what are you going to do differently concerning the law surrounding land art in Nigeria and Edo State? So there are three questions in one, Dr. Dennis.
Yes, thank you very much. Let me take that in turns. I think the first one says, what are my chances? I believe I have bright chances. I have 80% chances to be elected governor. And the second one is talking about agriculture. I think agriculture, we're going to make sure we embark on agricultural revolution because prior to independence, agriculture was the mainstay of the Nigerian economy prior to the discovery of crude oil in Olobiri, present day Bayelsa State. Agriculture used to be the mainstay, and we're going to make sure that Edo State is 100% mechanized. Try as much as possible that we have modern implement and equipment for farmers to work. We'll try as make sure we grow crops whereby we have comparative advantage within other states that we can export and have foreign exchange and forest so that we be able to solve some other critical issues so that we don't rely 100% on federal allocation. So agriculture is going to be one of the policy or one of the two in which we're going to use to diversify the economy of Edo State, try as much as possible that Edo State government give fertilizers as reduced costs to make sure that farmers open the farm wallet, make sure that farmers have access to fertilizers, improve seedlings, machineries for them to work, and set up other industry like the fruit juice factory in Iho. Try as much as possible we revitalize that so that our fruits are not being wasted. They are being processed in terms of fruit juice and exported, and that's going to create forest. We embark and we focus on other cash crops like timber, rubber, and cocoa. These are some of the things yesteryears in which Edo State was known for. We can process all these and Hennos Forest, and it becomes in which those states' economy is diversified. We don't rely 100% on federal allocations. So agriculture is going to be one of our policies in which we're going to use to industrialize and diversify the economy of the state. And the other question he asks is about
Land.
land issue. I believe the present government is doing relatively well in terms of land grabbing. That incidents have reduced. We know the land use had uh, impose or grant the state government right or the government right to have 100% ownership on land. And everyone who wants to acquire land must do so through the government and through uh, uh, what they call CFO. You must apply for CFO, certificate of occupancy. Because the government is the owner of land, you must apply to government to have access to land. What I'm going to address if I'm governor is to reduce the incident of land grabbing, which the present Edo State government is doing very well. We work in synergy with also with traditional institutions because they are the first point of call in terms of land management within the state. So we're going to work with our traditional rulers and make sure that land grabbing incidents are reduced within the state and make sure that people who apply to CFO get them within the shortest possible time.
Thank you very much, Dr. Denis Osahon Aikoriogie. Ladies and gentlemen, friends of the Comrade Show, it's been your darling program, The Comrade and Friends. It's 53 minutes on the clock. We have been having a discussion with the governorship candidate of the National Rescue Movement, Edo State governorship election come September 2024. I must thank all our viewers. You have been very, very interactive. Lots of questions have been coming. Our lines are open. You can still ring in. We have about 10 to 15 minutes to go on this very important episode of today's program. Just before I come to Dr. Tony Agbons, I also want to read one question that has been asked by Ambassador Ken Baz. And Dr. Denis, I think you've answered this in part, but viewers want to know more as well. He said, if elected, how will you handle the godfathers and the government excess spending?
Yes, thank you very much. I think the issue of gunfatherism is something that has been corrected and addressed in Edo State copiously and profoundly in Edo State. We've been able to make sure that there's no godfatherism in Edo State. We've retired a lot of godfathers in Edo State. I make sure I was one of those who championed the 4+4 mantra to make sure that when this present governor was going to go back, make sure that there was no godfather that stopped him from coming back. He wasn't answerable to any godfather. So I believe if I'm elected governor, because I don't have anybody who is sponsoring me at the moment, I'm not going to be answerable to any godfather in any quarters. I'm going to be a man of my own, and I'm going to take decisions uh, independently without anybody bossing me around. And that is how godfatherism can be settled in Edo State.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dennis Aikoriogie, for that question. For me, in terms of godfatherism, I think godfatherism is something very good. I think we all need some form of godfather, but I think the way it's being used in our present day Nigeria and indeed Edo State and in our polity is somewhat very different from what they're supposed to be. Having a godfather should be more of an advisory role and helping you to do things right. But I like the way you've answered that question. Dr. Tony Agbons, I'm going to come to you if you have a question for Dennis Aikoriogie,
Yeah,
and then we'll also see if we can take more questions from our viewers on our chat.
yeah. I just want to read this question from this is from our YouTube handle. Before I ask my question, Dr. Dennis, this is from Irene Finest, and she's asking. She said, "How often will you be having this type of interaction with the people when you become a governor?"
Yes, thank you very much. One of my items in terms of my policy trust is to have openness in government. And having openness in government, I've observed that there seems to be this disconnect between the lead and the led, and between the political class in Nigeria. When people are elected to hold political office in Nigeria, there seems to be a disconnect between these people and the ordinary citizens. You don't have access to their offices. Most of those who have constituency office, they don't visit those constituency. What my policy trust I'm going to use to address and campaign is I'm going to have an openness in terms of governance. People can walk up to government house or set up, have a kiosk there, and set up an appointment with the governor, and the governor is going to honor it. Having constant media party like this and town hall meetings so that you gauge the impulse of the people. You try to know from the people firsthand their immediate needs, where there are challenges, and how you can address it is something that's going to be of utmost importance. So that is why I'm going to emphasize strongly in terms of openness in government, whereby people can have access to government and also have access to government information in terms of how much the government is earning, how much the government is spending, and how they tend to reduce capital and recurrent expenditure, especially recurrent expenditure, to make sure that you move from being a consuming government to a producing government. Uh, so this is going to be in public domain. Try to make sure that there's openness in government, and try to make sure that the people can easily access you. So to answer your questions, I'm going to have constant media party to know the impulse and know the thinking and the needs of the people. It's going to be constant.
Okay, so I'm going to ask my question now. This is from me. I was listening to you talking about industrialization of Edo State if you become governor. And I think Edo State people worldwide will be very interested to hear your take on this, your policy trust. Um, you know, growing up in Benin City, in Edo State, in Okpila and all the rest, we used to have Bende Buri, we had the Edo line, we had the Okpila cement factory, and I know we also had this farm in Ososo area. I can't remember the actual name now. In Nakoko Edo North. So In terms of policy trusts, as in industrializing Edo State, industrialization of the state, are you going to be working at the level that is your government now, or what is your thinking? Level of participant or the level of driver of industrialization? So, which angle are you going to operate from?
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Agbons. I think we're going to work on both drivers of the policy and also participants. We'll try as much as possible. That is why my government will try as much as possible to set up a University of Science and Technology, whereby this science and technology university is going to drive the industrialization policy of the government, whereby people are being taught in terms of the industrialization policy and work with in synergy with University of Benin teaching some other federal institution to come up with policy that we put Edo State in a world map to drive industrialization. So we're going to set up this industrialization policy, and also government is going to embark on some industrialization because government cannot be everywhere. Because that is where economies come in because resources are scarce and government cannot invest in everything. So we try as much as possible to set the tune by providing the policy for the industrialization. We try as much as possible to also participate, maybe through PPP. Government can go into funding of some of these industrialization gestures. And also, you talked about issue of Bennett Brewery. We'll try as much as possible to resuscitate all these hailing industry and industry that have gone moribund, like Edo line and all that. The Okwela Smith factory you talked about, because these factories were sold to their friends and their cronies. We revisit most of all these terms and make sure that governments reclaim most of these prime institution and establishment. We set them up. We partner with people who can really come up to get this going.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Dennis Aikoriogie. It's just a little over an hour on this interaction. We are gradually coming to the end of today's program. We'll take a few more questions. May I just advise that you keep your answers very short so we can see if we can get as many as possible. I must thank our viewers today. Nobody has called in, but they've been very interactive, putting questions on our chat. I will take a question from Irene Finance. But just before that, Dr. Dennis Osahon Aikoriogie. Edo State is made up of 3 senatorial districts. And there's been a clamor that the Central Senatorial District should on this occasion produce the governor of Edo State. I mean the next governor of Edo State. And as it stands, the People's Democratic Party and the APC have all picked their candidate from the Edo Central. So looking at an Esa man standing in front of you just now, what would be your answer to tell him to vote for you? That's one. And Irene Finance is asking, diaspora is key. What are your plans for Edo diasporans?
Thank you very much. The clamor for Edo Central to produce governor, I believe the agitation is not is legitimate and is not out of place. But I also believe also the constitution also conferred every adult, someone who is 18 years, to vie for a position to be elected and be elected. So going by that premise, I believe that is why I'm trying the race, because I am constitutionally enabled to vie for election. And also, when I venture into politics to contest governor, I was coming under the party that has no, in terms of power rotation in place. And the party was silent about power rotation and all that. So that is why it gave me the courage and the leverage to want to contest. And standing before me, if an Asa man should be standing before me, I would tell the Asa man to vote for someone who has the Edo people at heart, not just based on where it's coming from, which senatorial district is coming from. You should vote for someone who is going to better your lot, even as an ASA man. You should look at the pedigree of the candidate, the sincerity of the candidate, and not based on ethnicity. Because if we recall, Obama, being a black man, was elected president of the United States. Uh, Coming from the post-war of the Bush administration, the Americans did not say Obama is a black man. They listened to his manifesto and to what is promised, his track record, and his electionary campaign promises, what he said is going to do for the American people. So this is what the Asian man should be concerned, someone who's going to bring water and what the Asian people are lacking within that senatorial district. So this is what the Asian man should be looking at to make him have informed decision on who he's going to vote for, not necessarily because the person is an Asian man. And secondly, my plans for the diaspora community is I intend to work hand in hand with the diaspora community to try as much as possible to partner with them to make sure that I draw from the wealth of experience of the diaspora community to help me develop Edo State in terms of the health sector. Try as much as possible. I work with because Nigerians and Edo State in particular. We are one of the best in terms of medicine, in terms of doctors and all that in the diaspora. So for me to have a transformation within the health sector and other sectors, I make sure I partner. I work in synergy with the diaspora community to make sure that they come back. We have a partnership and we help develop Edo State and put Edo State in the world map. So this is my plan for the diaspora community to work hand in hand with them, a hand with them, and make sure that Edo State is put on the path of progress and prosperity. Thank you.
Thank you very much. In the last dispensation, when we had this conversation with the incumbent governor, there was a plan for a diaspora agency. I just want a yes or no question, and this will be flagged on everywhere. What is your plan? Are you going to create an Edo State diaspora agency under your government? A yes or no, please.
Yes.
Thank you. And there was a question that was asked before. The gentleman has come back. He asked a question about civil servants. We know at the moment the current governor brags and prides himself as being the only person that has constantly paid civil servants in the state, giving the lean financial resources. Apart from what Governor Gordon Obaseki is doing now by ensuring that civil servants get their salary on the 27th of every month, are you going to sustain that or even go better? What is your plan for civil servants? Just to answer the question from that gentleman.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, I must commend the Edo State government. Where the government is doing well, I think they deserve commendation. I must say, yes, they are punctual in terms of payment of salary, and they even go far beyond as paying 30-month salary. I must commend the Edo State government. But there are some certain people within the Edo State civil service, people who are pensioners, they have not received the entitlement in terms of their gratuity. There's still backlog. I know it didn't start from this present dispensation. It started from way back. And what I'm going to do different is that when I come here, I try as much as possible that I clear that backlog of gratuity of civil servant people who have retired. I'll try as much as possible that they get their entitlement, that not only politicians who have served for 4 or 8 years are entitled to pension and all that. I'll try as much as possible to make sure that people who have worked at 5 years and have attained age of 60, that the backlog of gratuities are paid. And I try as much as possible. I sustain and I improve the policy of making sure that workers receive their salary as and when due. I make sure the 13 months salary is also sustained. I make sure that the civil service reforms is also improved upon to make it seamless, because we try to, as much as possible, to reduce bureaucracy in government when the civil service is reformed and digitalized.
Thank you very much. We are gradually coming to the end of today's program. It's 1 hour 9 minutes so far on this very important chat with the governorship candidate of the National Rescue Movement Party in Edo State. I must apologize very profusely to Osareme Agama. I've inadvertently addressed you as a male. I'm very sorry. Agama is a female. Thank you so much for correcting that. There's so many questions and that is being asked on our chat. But for our panelists here today, CNC and Dr. Tony Agbons, I think we'll just take one question each from you as we begin to wrap up this whole discussion, which to me, I think has been very, very interesting. And I know that those state people and indeed Nigerians would have benefited from this. And we're making up their mind on where to go. I think, having listened to Dr. Dennis Aikoriogie, some will begin to change their mind. They often say that it's youth o'clock. It might just be youth o'clock for Edo State. So, from Elante Osaraki, your last question. I will take a question from Dr. Tony and we'll wrap up today's program.
I'm just going to ask two questions, please. The first question is this. Under the dispensation of Governor Obaseki, we have seen some very unpalatable issues, with the issue of the artifacts. And of course, many Edo State people know what is happening. A couple of weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, Dr. Aswe Iwodalo was on social media platform like this, and he was asked a question directly on that matter. And if I recall correctly, I stand to be corrected, he did say that he will look into that matter, and what belongs to the palace, he will give to the palace. And he made a statement like that and all of that. And in some quarters, it didn't particularly go down well with some people, while some others believe that, yes, he answered properly. On the issue of the Benin artifacts, which His Excellency Governor Obaseki, has had some plans for that have not generally gone well with everybody in the state, so to speak. What would you do, in that matter if you are elected governor, to ensure, peace and stability in the state? You can equally, drag that into some of these, policies of the states, over the issue of what's it called, the dukedoms in Edo State, the chiefs and all of that, and their loyalty that have sort of led to some friction. That's on one part. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Now, the other one, is a separate matter, and that is Edo State has always been run by APC and PDP. And lately, we now have Labour Party like a third force. NRM, I'm sure, if not for this program, many people would not have heard of NRM. Okay? Some will be heard of NRM for the first time. And even when the debate is going on, at bigger levels and small levels, people are talking about PDP, APC, and, the Labour Party. Now, some people may want to ask, why are you trying to waste your money when the traditional political parties, APC, PDP, or now currently Labour Party, may be the ones to present the next governor of Edo State? So how would you respond to that?
Yes, thank you very much. Let me answer your questions in turns. First of all, you talk about the issue of the artifacts. How am I going to handle the issue of the artifact? I believe the artifact traditionally belongs to the palace, and we believe that the royal palace, they should be the custodian of the return of the stolen artifact. There should be no consultation or whatsoever in between the state government and the traditional institution, the traditional ruler, and who should be the custodian of the artifacts. The Oba of Benin should be the custodian of the advert. And in terms of the museum, we see that while the palace is trying to build up a museum, there is also a parallel construction of another museum by the Edo State government, trying to create a contest between what the palace intend to do in terms of having a traditional a Benin museum, and the one the government is trying to, you know, destroyed. I think it destroyed a school or so, and is setting up a museum there. So, like I've just said, the artifact traditionally belongs to the Oba of Benin, and they should be returned to the Oba of Benin. Should be the custodian of the artifacts. And in terms of also the establishment of the dukedoms, in Edo State, trying to reduce the powers and the influence of the Oba of Benin. I think it's something that is uncalled for, is what every Edo sons and daughters are frowned out. And if I'm elected governor, I'll try as much as possible to correct that. Uh, Make sure that the influence and the powers of the Oba is not reduced by creating all these dukedoms to reduce the powers of the Oba of Benin, because someone has said like Oba Sirin. If the governor is a thorough brought up and good person, he should know what that word means. That you don't drag with the Oba of Benin. So. This is what we're going to correct if I'm elected governor. Try as much as possible to return the artifact to the Benin Oba, to the Oba of Benin, and make sure that the creation of this Judeum just to reduce the power and influence of the Oba of Benin is corrected. And lastly, to your question in terms of the NRM, they say, why am I wasting money? I think that is what they said when the Labour Party, if we've listened to APC and PDP, when we were championing the Labour Party, I think the Labour Party would not have been the third force. We didn't listen to APC, PDP then when they were telling us we were wasting our money, we were wasting our vote. We still went ahead to build our structures within the Labour Party to project Mr. Peter Obi. Like I said, the people are the structure, and there's no underdog in terms of politics. What matters is for you to have the right candidate, and with your politicking and campaigning, everybody will come to terms with a particular candidate that to rally their force behind that candidate and what the candidate is saying and is selling point and manifesto. This is what says a candidate, not necessarily the party. Uh, his manifesto says we will try as much as possible to have a grassroots campaign, robust grassroots campaign to reach the electorate. I think this is going to be the game changer for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We are gradually coming to the end of today's program, but I'm going to go straight to Dr. Tony Agbons to give the very last question to Dr. Dennis Aikoriogie. But just before you come in, there are two questions that have been left on the chat. I'll put that in, and then Dr. Dennis can also answer that while responding to your question. Somebody's asking, are you going to probe past governors for contract awards? And what are your plans for sports and youth development in Edo State? So take that alongside with Dr. Tony Agbon's question.
God bless. Who asked that question? Please, we need to mention their name if it's
Yes,
Facebook.
let me go back. I just picked it up.
Yes, yeah, okay. But in fact, that second question on sports,
Yes, so the question on sport was asked by Dere Okungbowa.
Okay, I was going to ask that question. So one less work for me to do. God bless you, our dear viewer, for asking that question. So Dr. Dennis will answer that. So Dr. Dennis, I'm not going to ask a question. You said a lot today. And I know that hopefully you'll be back on this show at some point in the thick of the action. But this one I want to ask you, I would like you to answer it in pidgin English. Again, somebody saw your poster and said, this guy, he chop up or he move well. Oh. This guy, he said, you look very elitist. So this my question I want to ask you is that after you have answered the question that Pharmacist Iremira asked you now, speak to our people in pidgin English, okay? Make we know say you sabi area. No say this year we say we don't agree for anybody. So just talk to our people very briefly in pidgin English after you answer those questions. Thank you, my brother.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Agbons. I think the first one is talking about approving past
Yeah.
government. I think the answer to that is yes. We're going to approve past government in the sense that there's going to be some certain policy revisals, which like just that of the artifact and that of creation of dukedoms. These are some certain policy revisals we're going to back, and some certain actions the previous government have taken, like that of the Waterstone project. We heard so much noise about that, whereby the present government was making so much noise about probing the Waterstone of the previous government. But most of us knew that the present governor, his agency or his firm, did the consultancy for the release of that 35 billion naira. I think it was done through Afri Invest. Did that consultancy. So we began to question the sincerity of probing that project because this present government was part and parcel. It was the head of the economic team of the Adams Oshobole administration. So we doubt the probing of the water storm project. So in terms of areas like that where government money has been budgeted and no work has been done, so these are areas in which we're going to revisit to make sure that uh, people answer to questions regarding government budgeting and why certain job or work has not been done. I think these are areas in which we're going to visit past government. I think the other one you said I should speak to.
No, sports.
Okay, sports. Yes, sports development. Edo State, we used to have national in terms of all ramification of sport, in terms of running, relay. Edo State, Delta State used to come out first as Bender State. We try as much as possible to make sure that entitlements, uh, what's going to promote sports, what we call now the is it the boost or the impetus for people to be endeared towards sport is going to be put in place to make sure people are encouraged to join sport and to make sure that people's entitlement in terms of welfare entitlement, health wise, and their welfare package and those who's going to be involved in sport are put together. Why that is for actors of sport. We try as much as possible to make sure that we build more stadiums within Edo State. The stadium we have now was built by Samuel Bemudia. I think that's why it's called the Samuel Bemudia Stadium. Uh, Governor Lucky Nosaka Igbenedion refurbished it. It has been no other government has been able to build a sport complex from scratch to finish. So these are areas in which we're going to look at to make sure that sport development within Edo State is given the needed attention and make sure that the welfare of the people, those who are participating in sports representing Edo State, they are given a fair and urgent attention. So I think that's that. I've answered the question. So what Agbon said, I greet everybody with the year. Now maybe when I became Dennis Osahon Aikoriogie, proper Niger boy, proper motor, proper homeboy. Nothing they happen, nothing shaking. We talk say this year we're not going green for anybody. And also we're not going green for APC, we're not going green for PDP, I will not go green for Labour Party. So everybody make una get on a voters card ready because NRM is the party to beat. NRM is the party. That's why it's called National Rescue Movement because we did on the movement to rescue Edo State from all these people. We don't jabadu our state where they embezzle our money. Not they do anything for us. Roads not good. Hospital people not figure hospital. People want hospital they go abroad. They put their children for private school. We say no. Government institution must be uplifted. Everybody go enjoy to go public school. People will come on their children from private school, come put them for government school. People will get pride to go government hospital. They're not going to wait for 3-4 hours before they go see doctors, and all those doctors will be saying they get their private practice, they come work, they just they go report for their own clinic. We'll go try as make sure say our own clinic, is a reference point where we say when people come, they go get state of the art and they go get quality healthcare. So these are our promise to people, say make una vote National Rescue Movement, because we're on a mission to rescue Edo State. So I thank you now.
Thank you so much, Dr. Osahon Aikoriogie, governorship candidate of the National Rescue Movement. You are here to rescue Edo State people. It's been lovely having a chat with you. And I think our viewers have heard your plans, and they will be making up their mind come September 2024, when it will be that time for them to go and cast their vote. I want to thank the CNC Comilante Monsarahi and Dr. Tony Agbons for joining today, and for our viewers who have been very interactive, asking questions and making us pose this question to our candidate here today, Dr. Osahon Aikoriogie. Like we said and promised, the Comrade Show is for the people. We are first Edo State, and like CNC would always say, we belong to the great kingdom of the United Kingdom of Great Benin, or the way he puts it. And that's what we are going to do. And running up to these elections, we have agreed that we are going to bring every candidate from every party to have these discussions, so that Edo State people, we have enough opportunity and reason to pick a particular candidate. And by the grace of God, next Sunday, we shall be talking with the candidate of the YPP, no other but Paul Okungbowa. Join us again at 6 p.m. while we hear from Paul Okungbowa of the Young Progressive Party, YPP. The Comrade Show, like I said, is for Edo State, and Edo State is for the Comrade Show. We'll bring everybody, both small and big, to you, so that you can make up your mind. I must thank you all for finding time to be with us today. Like I said, it's been very, very engaging. Until we come your way again next Sunday, stay out of trouble, follow the laws, and we'll see you again next Sunday.
This the Comrade Show. Comrade Show, wait, Comrade Lante Oriakhi. This